It's amazing to look back and see how I view my struggles with food and body as a gift now. Because for so long, I tried to pretend that this didn't exist and that it wasn't a part of me. But what I've realized from my experience and the experience of working with clients, it's that it's through embracing and sharing our stories with struggle that provides the most healing. I'm Paris, and this is my story. 7 years old is when I began to think I was fat. Comparing myself to my cousin, we would wear matching outfits pretending to be twins, and it was on one family holiday occasion where we were wearing our matching sweatpant magenta suit, and a family member had commented to me that I was bigger. Though this comment was innocent, it really stung and began to haunt me. This is when, for the first time, I wished my body were smaller. 7th grade is when I began my dieting career. I honestly only believed that I would like myself if I wore a smaller size. And so I tried any diet that I came across. Weight Watchers, Jenny Craig, Master Cleanse, Slim Fast, Cabbage Soup Diet, South Beach Diet. I counted calories and fat grams obsessively. Initially, these diets would work because I would lose weight. However, it wasn't long after I would finish the diet that I would gain the weight back, and often more than I had lost. This was when I began to secretly and compulsively diet, so embarrassed that I couldn't keep the weight off. By my junior year of high school, I was already digging myself into a hole with food, and one night when I came home from swim practice, it got worse. I came home exhausted and hungry. My mom had made chili, and even though I had maxed out my daily calorie Weight Watcher points, I gave in and had a bowl. At first, I felt so grateful to be eating it because it was delicious and I was hungry. Though the more that I continued to eat, these intense feelings of guilt and anxiety began to creep up because yet again, I was breaking a diet. In the misguided effort to ignore these feelings, I just continued to eat more and more. And honestly, I don't remember how much I ate. I just remember that I couldn't stop. When I went up to my room after I was finished, I remember this intense feeling of needing to erase what I had just done. And so that is when, for the first time, I went into the bathroom and threw up my food. In college, it got worse. On the outside, I was really confident and fun-loving, outgoing, and on the inside, I was busy hiding the power bar wrappers, the evidence, so that nobody would know this about me. I was busy planning my next binge and mapping out all of the restrooms around my college campus so that I had a safe place to purge. I remember desperately wanting to be addicted to cigarettes because it felt like it was so much more socially acceptable than being addicted to food. I had heard about bulimia, but because I never lost any weight from it, and actually I gained weight, I didn't think that I had an eating disorder. Though I knew something had to change, I didn't know how to go about doing that. And by this time, the shame had grown to be so intense because I hadn't told anyone that I was fearful of letting in anyone on this. So by myself, I began taking little steps. I began eating organic food and preparing my own meals. I learned about nutrition and began to practice yoga more. And all of these really helped me find more balance in my relationship with food. However, it was the one step that I hadn't taken because it was the most terrifying that would be the most transformative for me. After college, I went to live in an eco-village in Hawaii, and at this point, I didn't feel like the addiction had as much control over me. Yet there was still something uneasy in my relationship with food. One afternoon, I was sitting in my outdoor camp with a new friend, and our conversation had meandered from the beautiful breakfast that we had prepared together to the raw food diet that we were on. and then to our mutual struggle with trying to be thin. Immediately, when the conversation began to go there, I felt this intense nervousness in my belly and my skin flush hot red because I knew, like, oh my God, this is someone that I could actually tell. So, with no hesitation, but a very shaky voice, I began to tell her everything. All that I had done to my body for so long. She listened, and when I was finished, she then told me that she had also been binging, purging, and dieting compulsively for most of her life. I remember these tears just streaming down my face as I felt this enormous weight lift from me at finally not feeling so alone, feeling understood. It was that moment in the eco village that eventually led me to enroll in the Institute for the Psychology of Eating several years later. I learned that it was the 14 years of isolating myself in the shame of this eating disorder that greatly contributed to the downward spiral of these binging, purging, and dieting compulsive behaviors. It was here that I shared my story more and more and heard other people's stories. And I learned how common hiding eating disorders are. I learned how shame creates a tunnel vision where we honestly believe that we are completely alone in our struggles. It's my intention with sharing my story to remind us all that we're never alone in our struggles. When we can bring voice and breath to these places that we've hidden and that have hidden us, we not only begin to heal, but we can become empowered from them. Kuleana is a Hawaiian concept that translates into English as personal sacred responsibility. And this is my kuleana, to be a confidant and a professional support to those who are struggling the same way that I did for so long. By sharing our struggles, we use what has kept us isolated to actually bring us together and to connect us, and to really empower our healing journeys.